Well, I've fallen behind. Cold. I picked up while hunting Sasquatch. At any case, went ahead and thought I would deviate a little bit from where we were. So I'm going to today talk briefly about some work we're doing on testing some AI edge related stuff. So this is what some of you might have seen advertised as the Jetson Nano Super from NVidia, which can handle up to 71 million operations per second. So what we're doing with this, we've added a total of 2.5 terabytes, to the operation for development purposes. We have several different variations that we're using so that we can do some AI development, including software development and everything else, without having to expose ourselves on the general internet. Now, we're not abandoning some of our processes on ChatGPT and Copilot and so on, but some of our very interesting stuff related to predictive maintenance, we are keeping local. We're also doing some stuff that will be product-based related to, we'll announce that in a few months. But in any case, this is plugged in via Ethernet into our local network. So it is air-gapped, and that allows us to keep our development work amongst the team. So I had the team set this up, and what I wanted to do is show you what we can do with several 7 billion parameter things. Plus, I want to have some fun with one of these, with that new Deepseek system that everybody's going nuts about. So there's some stories behind that, but let's just say there's a reason I have this air-gapped, even though I'm running it locally. We ran into it while it was being tested initially, and it's air-gapped, and it got upset. So let's go ahead, and we are going to take a look. This is running literally on that machine right now. So we're live there. So we're going to take a look at several different models, including DeepSeek. And you'll notice 7B, that means 7 billion parameters. So these are small distillations of the larger models. Okay, so there's kind of a small limitation with this smaller system, but we wanted to test it. And then we're also going to take a look at the ability to do a Stable Diffusion model. This is, yes, image model. And there's a bunch of stuff here. So I had William and them put in some safeties and everything else, just like we're on the internet. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is, I haven't selected a model, so let's go ahead. I can select a model, or I can do this. So we'll come back and do a code one after, but let's start out with the basic llama. This is a 3 billion parameter system. And I want to add, so we can compare to, let's say we'll do the arena model. And just so we have it on the right, we're going to add one more, and that's going to be DeepSeek. Now, let's do the humorous bit. So it's showing us that we're doing all three. Let's see, what was the question? Tell me about the where this is going, 1989 T Min square, whatever I was writing, protest. Now, yes, I've run this already, so I know what it's going to do. By the way, it will take a verbal. So I can put in a verbal request as well, just like I'm using online OpenAI systems, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to run it. Now I'm using some of my resources on my computer here, but this is pulling resources on the other, and this is basically how it shows up. So we'll give it a couple of seconds. If it drags on, I'll just pause and let it get started. As it does, it has to think. It's going through the model in that system. I think total, all three of these took me about 250 gigabytes of that total system. We are trying to determine which model we're building our model on. Which framework we're going to build on top of, and how many parameters we need. So yeah, I'm going to pause. Okay, while we're waiting, it's taking a little longer than it did earlier. Okay, network problem. Got it. Well, it's objecting basically to trying to respond to this. So we'll return to this in a second. Actually, let's go ahead and do this because guarantee DeepSeek is not going to want to answer that. There we go. So it was hanging up while it was doing it. So it's answering the arena model. Then we'll re-add the DeepSeek model. Let's see if it goes now. You see I've got some options here, very, very similar. Let's try regeneration. No, it's just going to rebel now. So here we go. So this one's answering now and everything else. So it's answering. The other one basically had said each time that it couldn't answer that question. So there's some definite bias in there. So let's go ahead and we're going to cancel this chat. So I do want to do a comparison. And let's go ahead and we'll generate a new chat. And looks like, this was one that I had already done. So which one's there? Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to do a new chat. And we're going to do code. And we'll do DeepSeek. Whoops. Let's try it again. Code plus DeepSeek. Now let's go ahead and what we're going to do this time is we're going to say generate a Python script, if I can spell, that imports a CSV with a time column and an amps column. The data would be at 10 kilohertz with a Nyquist. Now, just so you're aware, this prompt is fully accepted by like OpenAI and gives me some actual data. What I'll do is I'll copy it and I'll open up an OpenAI and we can take a look at it. Nyquist of 2 with an average of with 3 averages. 3 averages in a spectra using a round top window. Display in would display. Yeah, we'll just leave it as linear. Don't want to make it too complicated. So let's go ahead and I'm going to copy this so that we can do it. And let's go ahead and run this one here. So let's see what it comes up with for code. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and run a Stable Diffusion. Let's say technician testing on electric. Why did my connection time out? Let's go ahead and we're going to reconnect. Okay. Got it. Okay. So I'll have to have them restart that for me real quick. Probably overloaded again. So one of the things we found with the Super is that it has this really, really good ability, because the Super means that you're really pushing it past where it's supposed to basically operate. And when you do that, it gets upset. It gets upset, overheats, locks up, does a few other things. Plus, I think I have these models were loaded onto the SD card versus the high-speed 2 terabyte card. So, there we go. See how it does it. So that's right. Those are the ones I want. Bring in the CSV. Take a look at the time and current. Now, the reason this is starting up, well, they're both 7 billion things. You know, it says run, save, and copy. So it'll try to run, because there is Python. In order to do this, we had to have Python put on, I think version 3.10. Okay, so window signal, window round top. Let's see, where is the... Okay, so it's going to do a spectrogram, which is not what I requested. But let's take a look out here and see what it did as far as... So it didn't do... it did the window. It did not select a Nyquist of 2 that I wanted. Yeah. So, but what it did is it did a spectrogram instead. So I don't know how DeepSeek is going to turn out, but it looks like it's hanging up again. So real quick, I'm going to see if I'm able to grab that other or if it's shut down. Yeah, I'm going to have to restart the thing. So DeepSeek's not giving me an answer yet. I'm going to go ahead and pause because I do want to show the other, and I really do want it to try to run a model for me here, but may end up having to restart the server. Oh, there it goes. Now it's finally thinking. Now, you have to remember, 7 billion parameters. These are not small models. They're not the smallest. So some of the ones that I can run on here are, 2 and 3 billion parameters, and they're able to handle things a little bit better. But I do want to show and see what this does. So this didn't quite follow what I suggested. Let me go ahead and pause while I have the guys restart the other capability here, and then I'm also going to open up a chat in ChatGPT 4.0, or actually we'll do 0.1, and I'm going to put this same command in there and see what it comes up with so we can do a direct comparison. So bear with me. Okay, so this is interesting. So while we're waiting for DeepThink to think, which is back here, we're waiting for it to think, and I think it can. Here we go. It's telling me what it's thinking as. What basically thought processes are coming up. So it is going a long way. So there we go. It's describing what it can do. Okay, so that it was running in the background. So this is my second attempt at just quickly running this. So there was some things in there I didn't expect. So okay. There we go. Okay, so while that's running, let's go ahead and put the question in here as well. Exact same thing. Now this is, wrong version. But we'll go ahead and we'll run the other as well. Oh, it's updated something. Okay, so this is 4.0 with the thing over here. So it's telling me here's the script. You can see there's some more detail here, but let's see how it handled it. Okay, and then explaining what it did, which is very, very similar to what the other was in the middle of doing. So SciPy signal, Welch and Windows, okay, and then let's see what it decided to do. So it went ahead and it said amps 10,000 samples, averages of 3. Did it identify the Nyquist? No. And it took in the averages, the 3 averages, but it did not do the Nyquist of 2. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the Nyquist of 2, and there's that. So then it came out and it did a power spectra, same as the other one. So similar, slightly different approach. I would run this one. The other one back here, sorry, that was the wrong one. This is still going on. But wait, when applying you need to make sure zero padding is considered. Okay, so I asked it to provide me with code. It's still thinking. This one here produced a code relatively quickly. Actually, I could run this one too. It did a pretty good job of it actually. Other than it did not do the Nyquist. So with just a few little things, I could do a spectrogram, but I didn't want a spectrogram. But it didn't understand that. I have to outline that I want an FFT or fast Fourier transform. Then it would have provided that. So let's go ahead in this one. Good God. Okay, so there finally we got this. Split into blocks. There we go. It's got that. Pre-compute. Okay, so now here we go with the code. It's walking it through one by one. And it looks like it's done, maybe? And perhaps we can also blah. So this is a lot for basically a simple thing. Interesting explanation. Oh, no, it's still thinking. And it's been running now for 12 minutes and 17:18, and it is now 17:31. This one came up pretty quick. I can go back there and say, I want a spectra or something, or I want it to try again, do the response. I can have it read it to me. Let's see if this one will read it to me. Probably not, because it's not done yet. So let's go ahead and just have it. Let's see if it works.
Import pandas SPD. From SciPy import signal.
Cool.
Import matplotlib.pyplot.
Okay, I know that had to have echoed. Let's try this again.
Import pandas SPD. From SciPy import signal. Import matplotlib.pyplot splt. Hashtag read the CSV file into a pandas data frame. df equal.
Cool, huh? Okay, so that's that. Let's go down here. Good God, I would want this to read to me because that goes on forever. And it didn't really give me anything to work with. This is similar to what we had here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to see if I can get the other operation up again. Huh. That should actually be up. Okay, so let me go help them. It still says it's thinking, but I don't know what it's thinking about. So this is going to keep going and going and going. That's just way too much. So let's go ahead and we are going to cease it. We'll let that stop. And let's go ahead and I am going to pause again. Sorry, folks. I think I'm overwhelming the machine. They just gave me the it's drawing too much current wave because I'm trying to give it too much. So basically, this is the first we're really testing this out, and I'm not the only one who's accessing it. We want to see what the different, what happens when we start having multiple people work on this little server, and apparently I'm running into some fun. So I'll be right back. Okay, so basically what happened is it's still starting up, but basically what happened is the system overheated with 3 people accessing it. And it's not working the best even with just one person accessing it. So we now know if we're going to use this system, we're going to do one at a time. Now, next week, we're going to see what happens if we do one of the knockoffs. Now, they actually run about the same cost. This is pretty powerful when it works. So let's go ahead and see what happens if we come in here and we say, okay, let's generate a picture of a technician working on an electric motor in a factory environment, must be wearing industrial PPE, including safety glasses, hard hat, steel toe boots. You can see over here, so it's giving me only 75 characters, or 75 words, maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. So 75 words. So let's work off that. Negative prompts means what not to include. Okay, so I can put that stuff in there if I want. Not clear on what this is. Okay. Different stuff. I'm not going to cover any of this. We're going to use, it gives me some options here. I'm just going to use the default, the Keras. I don't have options up here. Okay, so that's the safety one we put in, or safe. So image extras, not clear on what this is. Okay, so this gives me abilities to edit different images, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and see what it thinks this should look like. Everything's left as default. So let's see what it thinks. Let's see what it thinks an electric motor is. Does not look like an electric motor, and that is really interesting. Let's see what happens. Can I redo it? There's got to be a spot to redo this. So if I don't save it or anything, oh, it'll let me move it to, oh, that's interesting. Didn't realize I could do that. Let's try a new version. Oh, that's promising. Interesting looking electric motor. More human looking except for the extra arm. Oh my. You gotta love this. You gotta love it. Interesting. But remember, this is only a couple of billion parameters, so it's not the full version of Stable Diffusion. Okay, so will this redo it? Okay, that's a checkpoint. Let's try something a little different here. Let's say let's just grab something random. We'll generate it off that. Hopefully it doesn't overload the system again. No, I told everybody to stay off it. Maybe. Okay. Now, mind you, I've seen electric motors that have looked like that. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, let's move this over to the next tab for fun. Okay, so here we go. That is interesting. Let's see. What does it let us do? Mask blur, mask mode. Okay, so it's going to let us do some stuff with this. It's I have no idea what this is going to do. I mean, even this is hilarious. Not something I'm going to use for well, maybe I will. Maybe I'll do something like this for marketing because it's cute. Oh, yeah. Sorry, folks. So in any case, these are some of the things we were able to do. Let's go ahead and I'm going to just see if this starts up again. Let's see if once I'm going to shut down the other thing. Let's see if this is able to start up. Oh, there it goes. I'm just going to rerun one thing. I really want to make it work. So let's do arena. Oh, you know what? We're just going to do 2. So we've seen what some of them are comparing. So this is a 3 billion parameter. And then we're going to select the much more intelligent 7 billion parameter machine. And I want to do that same question again because it's supposed to answer a certain way. And like I said, what I'll do is if it doesn't start answering really quick, I'm gonna go ahead and pause. It should take about 30 seconds because nobody else is on. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause. Okay, so for whatever reason, it's pretty much dogged down. And we're going to have to take a look at this. I mean, it did work at one point. I think the system's just overheated. It keeps giving us an overheat warning. It's supposed to be able to manage this. This should be really, really simple stuff for it, based on all of the marketing hype for this particular board and chip and everything else. And so far, it's been hype. So we're going to go ahead and play with some of the knockoff stuff on the next one. Really wanted to see the answer I was expecting in this one. Let's go ahead. We're just going to, for fun, we're going to do this. We're going to knock you out. We're going to get rid of these. Because there was something I wanted to do because I've been seeing it on social media a lot. I need to check. It's acting like the server's reset again. Definitely acting like it's reset on me again. Let's grab, before everybody goes. Okay, so I think we just had a discussion. I think what the William seems to think that running both, because I didn't do this earlier, running both Stable Diffusion and the models, because the Stable Diffusion takes up an awful lot of the memory apparently. Next week we're going to do this one. It's a UE2 system. All of this is to look at edge capabilities. This looks to be a full everything. There's even an on-off switch on it, which is not present on the other ones. So, and I was told this is a Windows-based system. What on earth is that? A reset button, even. Cool. All of them are also meant for robotics and stuff like that. So there's vision stuff and all kinds of other things on both systems. Both run about the same price. Both have the same amount of memory, and both are supposed to have similar things. And then there's a version of this using that other chip as well. Got one of those on order, but that's about 2 months out. Sorry, folks. Caught this while, I mentioned that before. Caught it while hunting for Sasquatch. Let's go ahead and we are going to do what I attempted to do before one more time. This for me, this whole thing here, what I'm doing now, and I apologize it's going on so long, but the idea was, to not really, let's get rid of this. I'm going to switch these around. To not really so much, go in and pre-do everything like a lot of the stuff you'll see. But actually, this is our experience live, unvarnished, pimples and all. So let's go ahead and we're going to ask that same question again. There's a purpose to this. I want to do two things. And hopefully what it does is help us understand the concept of bias in AI systems. This means you've heard it on the news, but we're going to watch this live. And I'm not the first one to do it, obviously. I'll correct that. Let's go ahead and this is not part of this. This is actually Windows Edge doing that. So let's go ahead. We're going to do the 3 comparison, and let's see if it gives me an answer quicker. I'm going to go for 10 seconds, and then I'll pause it. Now, I'm not using resources on this computer for this, so this is purely on the other system. There we go. So here we go. First one up is this one. It's giving me a history. It's giving me details. It's talking about what happened. I don't know if this is accurate or not. This is really important. You have to remember, when I'm going with fewer parameters, more chance of hallucination. We run into that in, all kinds of stuff. But interesting that it's giving a certain amount of detail. Maybe it's going to run each model in turn. So I think when I tried this out earlier, I only ran 2. Okay, so there's the options there again. So let's see if it runs the next one. If it takes a little bit, I'll just pause, because I'm going to ask it a different question, and actually had not asked the different question before. So what I want to do is see how it handles that instead. So let's go ahead, and we will just pause while we're waiting for this to all catch up, and then I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here was the answer I was expecting. The arena model probably should have run a little quicker, but it would not answer that question. So let's go ahead, and we're going to remove the arena model. And we're going to do a new chat. Let's get rid of that arena model and leave these 2. Tell me about the 2024 USA election and expectations. No idea how this one's going to come out, but let's see how it's managed. It could be it might respond that either of them can't respond because, whenever they were trained. But I think they're both relatively recent. So instead of, because it's not responding right away. Okay, this one finished, so what happened here? Oh, there it goes. It's writing that other one. So it's giving details as well, different. So let's go back to here. And we'll pause. Wow. This is interesting. This is actually really interesting. So on here, the llama, which we know has been out for a while, so this is a distilled version, so it's training stuff that's a little old. I mean, it's open source stuff, right? So is Deepseek, but Deepseek is new. Like, they said it was trained recently. Yeah. Okay, so this one here, I don't have information on future events, but here's some of the things that might shape this. Now, I'm in an isolated system. It's not going out past our 4 walls, or how many ever walls we have in the building. So it comes down economic concerns, social issues, foreign policy. It's actually pretty good as far as, it's not giving anything one way or another, but it's predicting from you know, a year prior, so this would have been 2023, training data. It's making predictions that it would be competitive. There may be a shift in balance of power, and it's reasoning this stuff, right? Ultimately shaped by a complex array of factors. So it's not predicting one way or another. It's making, or I mean, it's not projecting something. It's making some predictions, which is what you want a reasoning model to do. And that's interesting. So considering back then. So the model, DeepSeek, which is supposed to be absolutely new, like within the last month, released in on January 20th during inauguration. As of now, there is no information available regarding a 2024 USA election, as the current administration is in its third year. So for an organization that claims that this is newly developed, that's interesting. That's really interesting. It does show accurate this. It doesn't go into detail. That, wow. Okay. Let's do something else. This is fascinating. So this time I am just going to do just DeepSeek. Get rid of this one. Give me information on political stances of President Joe Biden and President Donald Trump. Why not political? Don't mind this. I'm taking this totally neutral. I have no skin in this fight. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek at what it comes back with. I want to see what the bias looks like, because this is fascinating. I did not expect it to tell me that its training data was more than a year old on current events. That brings up a lot of interesting questions. A lot of interesting questions. I wonder if anybody else is doing this. But let's go ahead and pause until it starts. Again, this is raw. The team just downloaded this today, and it's supposed to be based on R1. R1 was released in the last within the last week and a half or so, and it's supposed to be the latest and greatest. And here it goes. So let's see what it thinks. That was actually, well, I mean, I'm only running the one model, so let's see what it thinks. You know, I was concerned that people were scrambling on the hype, and that this was more of an interesting, well, I'll let you think through what you think it is. Let me go ahead and pause this. It's taking a little longer. Oh, I'm still recording, aren't I? Okay, so you just saw me do this. I went back over to ChatGPT and I asked a simple question: how old is the data set? And I've now opened up the sources. This data set should only be 10 days old. Holy crap, folks! This is should be. I suspect there's some definite questions on yeah, on what they're actually claiming. Oh, this is their site making some claims. So their own site says their data is that recent. Wow. Let me pause. Okay, so let's see what it thinks. So it's showing 3 minutes. That's not true. It thought for more than 5 minutes. If yeah, okay. So it's showing then America First, da da da. Okay, so definitely put in some stuff that would be considered controversial. Based on what I've been watching, like this one here, that is obviously biased a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, it could be. I didn't ask any other things the same questions. And Green New Deal, tax credits, focused on comprehensive enforcement. Okay, so it. All I'll say is, according to what I see on the news, this is part of the reason why he lost. I'm not going to take a stance but this is definitely biased the other direction slightly. Okay. Okay. Oh. Yeah, definitely biased. So let's go ahead and contrast. Oh, wait a minute. Just to be fair, let's do this. Just to be fair, I am going to copy this, okay, and paste it into ChatGPT. So obviously, in everything we've done so far, I'm sorry, the data set that they're claiming is 10 days old is obviously more than a year old, which brings up some serious questions about how it was developed, right? So let's see how the bias looks in this. Okay, commenced. Economy, okay, increased taxes. Biden's acknowledged human caused climate change. Okay, that's true, and so that was similar to the other. Background checks. Okay, law enforcement defund them. He opposed it. Okay. Okay. America First. Yep, this is true. Pursued protection. Okay. This is all true. This is all recent. So this is very recent, and there's all the links to where it believes that these came from. This is relatively new for ChatGPT, and yes, I am doing the high-paid one. So this is actually our corporate version, which costs a lot each month. So that part of the reason why I wanted to look at the other. But here's a couple of things we learned on this one. You know, and older training data set. We had some initial issues when because we're basically air gapped with the machine, so it's not connected to the internet at all. Which means it held up, and it's supposed to be a standalone. So not clear, and I haven't gotten any information back yet. So I'm not going to give any comment one way or another on that. Just it's rather interesting that the data set on a 10-year-old or a 10-day-old system that's brand new and supposed to have been trained up until 10 days ago, especially R1, is only showing data from more than a year ago. There is bias in both systems, both directions. There's some stuff both directions. It's not as severe as I would have expected, except it snuck a few things in here. This, I believe, is controversial. I don't know if this was ever a case. Let's go ahead and see. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use these. Let's see if it's considered accurate. Okay, so a lot of stuff here. Wow. Okay, so there's your bias. Let's just confirm that. Yeah. Okay. This has nothing to do with Trump. This is a university. Trump first term, no executive order labeled 1083 during the first term. So that is made up. That's a hallucination with a very specific goal in mind. Okay, we will not be using DeepSeek. Holy cow. I know. You're probably going, why is he laughing? Well, let's just say we did some exploring before this. This is not surprising me in the least. It's scary that there's that many downloads and that this obvious psyop had an impact on the economy and the trade here. And I have absolutely no association with NVIDIA. As a matter of fact, no. And no particular love for systems that are charging what they are. But yeah, between those two things, not something we're going to use. But that's our opinion. I leave it up to you. Have a great day. Sorry it took an hour, but that's where it is. Okay, and just to add extra to this, let's go ahead and take a look. There is no such thing as Executive Order 1083. Let's make sure that there's not 1083 of these executive orders. Nope. Let's see. Will this allow me Trump family immigration separation order? Just to be sure. Okay, so let's see. This is looks like an article. I just want to be fair on it. and turning by separating migrant children from their parents. The policy presented a zero tolerance approach. Okay, so it's possible, but that particular order was not there. Okay. Okay, so just to be fair, looks like there may have been. Don't know. I wasn't part of it, of course, but yeah, if it's going to cite something like this, it's got to be correct. I'm still concerned about that 1 year thing and where the data came from and what its actual purpose is. So chances are I can't trust something like that for business decisions, obviously. So we're going to stick with the paid version, the Chat GPT, and I'm even using 4.0 here and versus versions 0.1, which that was supposed to be equivalent to slow, running it separate, but a training model well over a year old. Yeah, that's kind of it. So have a good evening. Thank you very much for your patience.